id Software has built an award-winning reputation for their first-person shooters, but they've never brought an open world to the party. That alone makes Rage 2 a curiosity. At a recent LA preview event, I wanted to find out whether gunplay would cast a gigantic shadow over the Apex engine, and whether Avalanche Studios could keep up with the fast-paced carnage. Long story short, I was not disappointed. Rage 2 has a story-filled world that feels amazingly built. My first concern about Rage 2's open world was put to rest the first time I spotted friendly characters. The demo began in Wellspring, where the Golden Path puts the player character, Walker, face-to-face with the town mayor. Within that post-apocalyptic hub, I immediately found interesting folks. Random NPCs drop missions or tips about enemy-infested hot zones. In every brief exchange, the characters explain their backstory, what they want you to do, and why they want you to do it. No signs of fluff or a dialogue wheel, but I was pretty happy that the world felt alive and inhabited. There's a very clear string of missions, but free roam was way too tempting for me, especially since the Phoenix, our trusted Hellraiser on wheels, was available from the get-go. In a sleek car bedecked with cannons, I sped towards the first question mark on my compass to test the dynamism of Rage 2. En route to said distraction, I was distracted by a random car chase. No exposition, just an old driver calling for help as two gun-covered four-wheelers closed in on his shoddy vehicle. I chased after them and felt the rush of a Mad Max movie, so naturally I embraced the furious road of twisted metal and blood-spattered seats. The gratification was instant. That car chase led me to another distraction, a sewer related to one of the game's many so-called projects. Inside was a giant mutant hoarding some cash and car parts, and that brought along another microcosm of enemies and secrets cut off from the other biomes. After wading through contaminated water and mutant remains, I discovered the chest guarded by that killer monster. Alongside some awesome goodies, his death awarded me 3 project points to spend on ability trees. Again, none of that was planned. After the sewer, I ran into another car chase when a settlement entered my route. I found a tank, just kind of parked there, so I switched vehicles and blew the living hell out of the nearby Goon Squad compound. Not only did I get some loot, but inadvertently completed another project. By the time the smoke cleared, I had finished a whole series of side activities without resorting to the map, which demonstrated just how condensed and organic the events really are. Throughout multiple points in the demo, my escapades landed me in the middle of firefights. Anywhere you go, you're liable to stumble upon firefights, bosses, and odd circumstances. For a post-apocalypse, this world feels remarkably alive. Faction-related activities in Rage 2 pass at the player's chosen pace. The reward is project points to spend on skill trees for upgrades, passive abilities, and a wide range of opportunities. While faction skill trees are unique, the points they award work anywhere. During my playthrough, the world gifted points like candy, and that never felt like a laundry list of fetch quests as we see in many other games, and I think players will appreciate that. There was never a lull between side activities either, so when I finished my antics, I had all but forgotten the main quest. Nearly everything there is to do is rewarding, so much so that the narrative feels more like a seasoning to an already meaty game. A few batshit cutscenes, however, made the main story well worthwhile. If you watch a few YouTube videos, you kind of get a feel for Rage 2's narrative, but firsthand, the insanity really has escaped the insane asylum. There are half-naked people in bear masks, bloody reality television, and some of the most crazed characters in any game not made by Gearbox. My misadventures built my hype levels for the rest of the game because, as soon as I started, the speed went immediately to 100 and stayed near that peak. After about 90 minutes of that, I parted with a question. Can the game really maintain the breakneck speed of fun? Maybe. Speaking of fun, I almost forgot the guns. id and Avalanche have developed another arsenal of crazy sci-fi weaponry. The weapons combined with the fast movement made the combat feel fluid, perhaps even more fluid than Doom 2016. I might be so bold as to say the guns are worth the price of admission alone. One of the beauties I tested was a grav dart gun that, when fired, can float enemies anywhere you want. Throw them to the sky, throw them to the walls, bounce them like balls. The physics is on full display and enhances the playground experience with every new gun. One common denominator through every nook and cranny of Rage 2 is the aesthetic. It's a surprisingly vibrant post-apocalypse, character-wise too. NPCs are as colorful as the wasteland and just as gritty, with dialogue and quirks that made me draw parallels to the Borderlands series. I'll say it right now, if you're a fan of Borderlands or Gearbox, you'll be right at home in this crazy world. Just don't get lost in the comparisons, or you'll sell this game very, very short. 90 minutes of carnage allowed Rage 2 to successfully whet my appetite. You'll find plenty of studios who can develop big maps, but this has to be one of the densest worlds I've seen. though the driving probably contributes to the seemingly non-stop action. Still, I never hit a snag, never caught a fetch quest, or hit a task that felt like a chore. The experience was like jumping from one party to another, and that was before I even started the main quest.